Good afternoon and welcome to another magical story from my book, Tales of a Mother Alchemist, already available in Amazon, in English and by the end of March in Spanish as well. And this book has got about 40 inspirational quotes in the back of it, so I hope you will enjoy it. This story is called Completing the Cycle. In about April 2020, I did a whale attunement. Whale is a totem that says, honor your soul purpose and claim your destiny. Changes are necessary. Although you may feel overwhelmed, stay focused and connected to yourself so that you can work your way to resolution. I took this quote from a website called Spirit Animals. I've got the link there in the text box with the other links for the books. We are living in complex, some would say difficult times. Part of the difficulty of these times is that humans don't surrender to clarity and vision. This is because this requires that we release control. We understand control as our only way to survive when we feel fear. We hold tight to what we have or where we are at in an attempt to diminish our anxiety, but this road doesn't take us very far. We know that change is necessary in every cycle in our lives, both big and small, but our tendency is to act chaotically when we feel lack of control. This translates into feelings of anxiety, lethargy, depression, fear, frustration, or anger. And even though these are natural emotions, and an emotion is energy in motion, they do require to be channeled or redirected in order for us to create positive outcomes. The other aspect of our negative emotions is that they tell us that we are going against our original purpose or life mission. One would say that it should be easy to surrender to the negative feelings. Stay with it, feel it fully until transmuted so that it can show us its gift as it releases its toxic energies. But we block them because we feel we are going to die. And this is true, although not exactly. We are not physically going to die. What actually must die is our ego or personality. And our ego is a master controller that wants to impose its limited view of the world on the multiple and expansive possibilities available to us. But if the teacher is incompetent, how do we expect the student to learn and get ahead? We start with a set of natural skills that we explore when we are children by the action of playing. We see that when we are children and we are young, we treat our playmates with consideration and fairness. Then the grown-ups in our lives get involved and dictate how the children should act and start projecting their already established beliefs, some of which are restrictive. And then they start molding the children into carbon copies of themselves, because this is what is acceptable in their set of circumstances. In this manner, we continuously help maintaining the status quo, the traditions, the behaviors, the habits, and the society models that we are part of. So in April 2020, I decided to have a distance attunement. An energy attunement is when a Reiki master sends you a chi ball or encapsulated ball of light encoded with specific symbols and intentions. As Bruce Lipton says, we are interactive waves. Each cell has 1.4 volts, so 50 trillion cells in our body are 700 trillion volts. We are actually walking batteries. So it says, Chi is a focused voltage that heals. Jim Quick, a Mind Valley teacher for fast reading skills and memory development, says, intelligence is high connectivity. So it makes sense that we are all connected by a universal and intelligent energy field. And this is how distant attunements work, and why you don't need to be physically present in order to work with healing energy. My attunement was a blue whale Lemurian initiation. And it was the third level of the Blue Star Lemurian Healing Empowerment System by a website called newearthenergies.org. This energy upgrade or reset assists you in clearing your energy fields and emotional body to awaken your cellular memory. In the New Earth Energies website, it says, the whales help to clear and cleanse your heart chakra, removing blocks and negative energies. The whales are the keepers of the sacred knowledge of activating the grid of energies that bring oneness. The day we appointed for the attunement, I lie down and relaxed, closing my eyes so that I could feel receptive to the delivery of the energy ball in a way that would be meaningful or relevant to me. This means that when I work with energy, I need to first feel it in my body before I can translate it into my mind. Then my thoughts tell me what has shifted, and then with a focal point, I start seeing the changes taking place in my physical reality, such as memories and feelings being healed, forgiven, or lifted. It is a process that unless you go through it, you can't really explain it. But for me, it works. And I have done attunements and energy calibrations for over 2 decades now. If it hadn't been for it, I would have been buried under what I used to consider problems, but which translated as feeling stuck in a black void, for lack of a better expression. When I am receiving energy, or when I give myself Reiki, I feel it as electricity running throughout my body in specific areas, activating or unblocking particular points. It normally takes anything between half an hour to 1 hour. Then I let the energy settle, and for 1 week or so, I write down all the changes that I feel in my body, as well as being alert to the manifestations taking place in my life as a result of the activation. Sometimes they can translate in people changing their attitude towards me. Other times it can translate as new opportunities. At times I receive inspirations, guidance, or visions, even dreams. In this particular case, I have currently been receiving all previously painful childhood memories as healed and completed. They no longer have power over me, and I feel liberated. It is as if an old problem was instantaneously resolved, and I see an opening where it used to be a dark, heavy energy. The memories were taking my energy in order to stay in place. So when they are healed, the energy is freed. And then you are able to use your lighter state of being to project your vision further away in the future. It's like looking at the future without the blocks that you used to have. So as you release your history or tales that others instructed or informed you with, you realize that this information was actually a way to form you. But now that you can see clearly, you start redefining what you want your truth to be. And this is the time when you start following your intuition. You realize that the reason why you felt uncomfortable with these truths was because they simply didn't belong to you. They didn't resonate with your blueprint, with your original code, with your DNA. They were not part of who you came here to be. And as you clearly see that you are not the person, that these are not the parameters through which you function most efficiently, you start choosing proactively to make sure that you let go of all baggage. By releasing your emotional history or other people's stories etched or framed in you, you can now create your story, a new and brighter version of your life and the world in which you live. Someplace, different perspective, therefore different choices, creating different timelines, bringing different possibilities. As you convert part of your shadow into light, a limiting pattern or a painful memory is released. When the energy that was holding it in place is also released, you feel lighter and more energized or eager to move forward in your life. These energy alignments or calibrations always translate into an opening of the heart chakra, allowing us to reach a new level of compassion, feeling more connected to others, raising our resolve of being of service, aligning us with our life mission, and allowing us to receive clear thoughts and clear messages. All in all, life is simplified and becomes easier to navigate. The final result is that we're able to make our previously unconscious thoughts lighter and more expansive. And this brings alternative ways of looking at things. It is not strange to see an opening or opportunity where before you would see only a problem. Maybe this is what they call creative thinking or thinking out of the box. I truly recommend distance attunements. If you are used to working with energy and if you have someone who can guide you through the process, for instance, a therapist, a Reiki master, an alternative practitioner, etc. But I also warn the reader that playing with energy without the correct support could result in some undesired or unexpected side effects. I myself got into trouble a couple of times in my early days when I was so eager to get out of the hopelessness and semi-despair that was my life at the time. I tried to develop myself psychically too fast, and I got a couple of scares. I was lucky that I had a network of people who could help me, but the lesson was clear and I never forgot it. Slowly, but surely. The spiritual path requires processes, patience, determination, faith, integration, and consistent evolution. It is not easy, but it is worth it. Some people use hallucinogenic substances. I have never used them myself, and I will never use them because I don't believe in that kind of fast breakthrough of consciousness. Perhaps I'm wrong. The reason is that I am not sure whether these shifts can be healthily integrated. So I opted for the slow route, which was meditating for quite a while, allowing my aura to expand and strengthen gradually and consistently. Sometimes our fear is a good guardian. So after the attunement was over, I felt a huge shift over the following days. I seemed to be able to read or decipher energies more clearly. It was as if the process connected me deeper with the universal intelligence. For instance, I would be getting on with my day and I would stop because I would perceive something. Then a very clear thought would spontaneously be formed in my mind, which I could capture by writing it in my spiritual diary. A word or various words would resonate more strongly, so I would navigate the internet looking for some synchronistic information, and invariably a YouTube video would come up. Someone would talk about what I just picked up, with other words and within their own area of expertise. There would be an astrologer, a mind power speaker, or a teacher, or a healer. I started to find it spooky that in a nutshell, they would be commenting on what I just had written in my diary. We have to understand that attunements and healing sessions are not instantaneous answers to all our questions, but a process of evolution, development, healing, and growth. You receive only the amount of energy that you can cope with at a given time. If you took too much energy, you would burn your circuits, so to speak. The intensity of your emotions could give you a shock, damage your nervous system, or create physical undesirable conditions. You should not burn too much negative emotion or dense energy too quickly. The process has to feel good and liberating, not shocking or horrifying. So when it comes to energy and healing, more is not necessarily better. It is better to do it slowly, one step at a time, and regularly. The right amount of energy given at a time when you are ready to face a lurking or hidden issue will allow you to come to terms with your improvement and evolution. We must not forget that we are so used to living with our drama and that we hold on to our pain for dear life. It is strange, but we do it because it is the way for the ego to attract attention and establish its self-importance. So I advise responsible self-development and keeping track of your inner truth. That is, your level of integrity at each given time. You need to ask yourself, what is the real reason why I am doing this? And then you need to find the real answer. Sometimes your first answer is not the real truth. I sometimes tell myself, you are lying to yourself, there is more. And I don't stop until I get to the bottom of it. Be warned, Spirituality can become another form of addiction. If you are not honest with yourself and if you become dependent on results, that is, searching for the sake of searching and never really moving forward in your life at a tangible way. You must always be the rudder of the ship of your life and be in charge. You will need to decide at every given step whether you say yes or no to the universe. Be open to the possibilities, but always exercise responsibility. Align with the power of your intuition. So if anything feels true to you, it is true. And if it doesn't, then you don't need to give any explanations. Just say no until it feels good and real. In my case, it brought clarity on what I wanted to do. I had already decided that I wanted to focus on my author archetype in my second house with a whale totem. Coincidence? As a story record keeper, records stored in our DNA. This is the deepest level of truth that I know, and we can all intuitively sense it because we are coded with it. Clarity started to come into my mind in spontaneous bursts. Memories that had been buried for more than 50 years were suddenly just not an issue. They were healed. I no longer had feelings of sadness, frustration, anger, guilt, pain associated with them. I was feeling empowered and liberated instead. Many sources out there say that we're experiencing the collapsing and speeding of time and experiencing the collective mind as our own. This is why they say that the time of the lone wolf is over. When we talk about energy and frequencies, it simply means that as we raise our vibrations, we are merging with our highest potentials and releasing the lower frequencies or shedding our skin. This can be understood as healing our past lives by integrating the lessons and tapping into future timelines as we access the lighter and more expansive, faster frequencies. The whole issue here is that we need to start becoming more disciplined with our emotions. In a moment of intense emotion, you might find yourself as if riding a wild horse, carrying you to a place that you really don't want to go. This feeling of being out of control is a reaction. We choose an action through a prompting in our environment, which is a repetition of an action that we have always done, based on a belief that we always had, even when we knew that those decisions were not very smart. Now, Whale is asking us to control or channel these emotions in creative ways, and whether we realize it or not, our whale archetypal totem keeps the records of the outcomes of our actions. It starts recorded in our psyche. If we change our attitude for the better and consciously choose actions that are better and more in line with the person we want to become, our whole world shifts, starting from inside and showing itself on the outside. This is what we call projecting ourselves onto the physical world. And this is why they say that reality is a hologram. Shifting our baseline from negative or basic survival emotions to emotions such as unconditional love and compassion, and maintaining them in a consistent manner is the new way of thinking, the new language of humanity, and it is based on sound. Sound is vibration. And we know that whales can communicate among themselves up to 6,000 kilometers at a distance through the water, which is a faster conductor than air. In the same site, spiritanimals.com, there was a message that gripped me because of its simplicity and power. Sound is the factor that holds it all together. If you amplify your language, the structure of matter will change. Spoken from the heart moves people and inspires action. And as I continued to read, I became even more mesmerized about the following message, as it clearly explained what I had been undergone through the attunement energy shift. Whales are energetically linked to the Pleiades. Their songs emit a distinct vibrational frequency that assists you in opening your heart chakra, as well as your higher heart chakra or thymus, to help you access deep wisdom. You will experience more synchronicities and have an inner urge to align with your purpose and true destiny. Some people focus on money. Some people focus on power. Some people are corrupted and others abusive. But some others are here to serve and even to dedicate their lives to love. I used to want to write, but I never even considered the possibility that I could talk about core metaphysical subjects applicable to the current times and the future of humanity. I am absolutely delighted that with each attunement, energy shift, leap in evolution, or step forward in my personal development, life becomes more clear, more beautiful and simplified, less worrisome, and fuller of potentials and possibilities. Whale invites us to tap into our own DNA, awaken our spiritual compass, and activate a ruder or guiding talent so that we can become a teacher and a channel. But as always, the choice is ours, and I know exactly what I have chosen. The question is now, what kind of person are you choosing to be? Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.